Wow, how's that for an intro? Welcome to the B&E Show. Today we have a special guest, Abraham Abadi from the Abadi Group. Welcome, Abraham.
Ben, thanks so much for having me. It's definitely an honor. I can't believe I'm only number 5, but I'll take the slot.
Excellent. Listen, I truly appreciate your time jumping on here. I know you're a busy, successful individual. We've been working together for what, 10
10
years?
years, to maybe over 10 at this point. Yeah.
Wow, incredible. What? Just tell. Why don't you tell the viewers like what's Abadi Group? What do you guys do?
Sure. So basically, in a nutshell, we've been doing telecom for the last 28, 29 years. And we source about 150 carriers nationwide. So depending on where our customer is located, what their needs are, it's our job to come up with the right carrier, as well as give an extra layer of customer service and support. So we don't do any billing. The billing would come directly from the carrier. We would just add an extra layer of customer service and support, as well as management of the service and making sure that whatever the carrier is supposed to be doing does. And if they don't, we make sure that they get to it.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, no one likes support, but it has to get done. And people are always, they always want their cake and the icing at the same time.
They definitely want it all. One of the advantages of working with us is that we cut through some of those layers, and the people that we've been working with at the carrier level, for the most part, most of these carriers we've been working with for 15 years, 10 years, 15 years, where we're able to escalate, certain issues quicker than a generic type of customer would be able to do on their own.
Yeah, that's huge. When customers call and they have a problem, they want results and they want it right now. And to have, a Abadi Group behind you, I'm sure is critical. It's critical.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
What you want, without naming company names, but is there like a recent win that you want to that sticks out? You want to bring up or talk about it all?
Yeah, well, I'm actually working on one right now. It's going to be a win. It's a verbal. Basically, it's a large theater, and it's a well-known theater. I'm not going to say the name for privacy reasons, but they have a lot going on. Basically, they have POTS lines, they have old PRIs, they want to integrate into Teams. They're just all over the map, and what we were able to do is come up with a solution that basically encompasses everything and sort of takes them away from the services that might be disconnected because of copper facilities, which is happening all over New York City, for example. Mm-hmm. And we're sort of bringing everything sort of in-house with under one carrier and one throat to choke, so to speak. So
are you that throat?
I mean, I don't know how big my throat is, but I guess for now, yeah, definitely, yeah, we are definitely a throat to choke, and it's a great one because it really encompasses everything. It gives them one point of contact for all services, and they won't have to worry about figuring out, well, is it my POTS line? Is it this? Is it that? Basically, you have one carrier, one source to help them throughout that entire process.
Yeah, that's a huge thing, having a Abadi Group in as basically the referee, controlling the sides and making sure everyone stays in their lane and doing their job is it's super important. And as soon as you get lax, someone could fall asleep.
Yeah, a lot of the times, we run into the guy who sold you the deal has nothing to do with your account after the fact, and dealing with us, we're always going to be there. You might get a service from one carrier and it sounds great, but at the end of the day, when the service is installed and you have a billing question, you're not asking him. You're just calling up an 800 number. With us is we'll make sure that whatever the carrier was supposed to be charging is actually on the bill.
That's great. It brings up a good point. People like to work with people they're comfortable with, they like, right?
Yeah.
And if it's the same person on the other end of the phone all the time, they're comfortable with it. They'll let someone else deal with all the back end, plumbing, as I like to say, as long as you get the results. But yeah, exactly. Having one point of contact for the customer is real important. Uh,
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with an enterprise type of account where they have multiple locations, multiple underlying carriers, multiple bills potentially. I mean, a lot could go wrong, and if you're not organized and on top of it, then it stinks. It really stinks, and it
yeah,
takes a lot of time to unfold.
I only remember know that porting a number from another carrier. All I hear is it could be challenging. It could be challenging. You got to stay on top of different
Porting
people.
is definitely a challenge depending on what carrier you're working with, depending on who you're porting from. There's a lot of factors involved that people just assume that, oh, well, we'll just port the number. Yeah, it's not so easy.
No, it's really not. It's
It's
really
not.
not.
Yeah.
Let me ask you one other question about connectivity. Do you see businesses upgrading their speeds or requesting higher speeds?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of that. We're seeing a lot of, gigs turning into 2 gigs, 5 gigs, 10 gigs. Um, Recently, we've been seeing a lot of customers going with a main circuit and a backup circuit. We're seeing a lot of SD-WAN failover type of
Mhm.
solutions. We're seeing a lot of people who need bandwidth, but they also need bandwidth to connect to AWS or Azure. They want a direct connect. We're seeing a lot of that. And
Why do you think businesses are wanting to basically double or triple or quadruple their speeds?
I
What do you
think it's
think?
simple. I mean, it comes down to being once you're in the cloud, you need full uptime, full capability all the time. So, as businesses grow and as time evolves, more and more things are in the cloud. And, if you don't have the right internet, it just makes everything worse.
I mean,
Um,
you would
yeah.
know better than anyone else. You're on the other end of the line if something's not working, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
definitely getting a call or an email, but yeah, definitely. And again, we could usually in general, internet is either up or down for the most part, especially if you're dealing with a fiber circuit. Where it gets a little hairy is when you're dealing with a coax line and you're dealing with a FiOS line or a line that doesn't have an SLA. So the carrier is not necessarily guaranteeing the speed. And if you call up, if there's an issue, the SLA is not the same as a traditional fiber circuit would be. So it's always best to try and get 2 fiber circuits if that's a possibility. If
Mhm.
not, definitely a good alternative would be either a coax line, or even a better alternative would really be a fixed wireless circuit.
Ooh, you're hitting my sweet spot right there. Stop. You're going after my heart now. Yeah. I mean, do you see a lot of stuff about security now? Do you see people like wrapping up their security at all? Obviously, with the terrible stuff
Most of the
going on.
security questions really come from the MSP side, where we do work with a lot of vendors um, who who are MSPs or
Mhm.
who are IT consultants. So we don't really get involved too much, but we do get involved where it comes to, well, we need two-step authentication when it comes to
Yeah.
voice. We need certain login credentials. Are you PCI compliant? Are you HIPAA compliant?
Wow.
These are some of the general questions that we get for voice. And bandwidth also comes with some of those questions as well.
Yeah. I mean, again, we do fixed wireless. We sell fixed wireless. You're in the trenches, man. You deal with all of it. You deal with the bandwidth, with everything that rides on top of it. And I know a fraction of of what you do, and you guys
You
are
should definitely not doubt yourself. I think you know a little bit more than the average person.
maybe, but I think you have your finger on the pulse, right? That's super important, more important than you know a lot of different elements. You know what the customers are looking to buy now, and that's what are their procurement departments saying? What do they need? Do they need to ramp up certain pieces of the organization? That's something before anybody else, really, because you see if there's an issue.
Yeah, no, it definitely helps. Another, when we first start out with, working with an MSP or an IT vendor or something like that, um, what they do is sometimes they'll say, "Hey, Abram, what do you think about this location? What do you think is available here?" I'll give them some options, and then over time, I think they realize that they don't necessarily need to be involved as much as they think they need to be involved. Because once we're involved, we could literally speak to the client on a high level as far as what their needs are, and
Mhm.
as well as look at other opportunities. So it takes time away from them trying to sell the deal versus us, where we could actually save them time as far as getting something done, and they can move on to the next opportunity that they have.
They love that, saving time, not having to pick up the phone, having someone else do it.
Yeah, like a real professional. Yeah,
that is worth it. That's worth
yeah,
the energy you put into it.
definitely.
Listen, I don't want to take more of your time up. Listen, I appreciate going, talking to you right now. It's been far too long since I've seen you in person. I think the last time I was in your office was too long ago.
Too long, too long.
Too long. We'll have to change that. Yeah, no, I really, truly, truly appreciate your time. Abraham Abadi Group, right here, the source, the B&E Show. Thank
Thanks,
you,
man. I
everybody.
appreciate it.
Take care. Be
Talk to you
good.
later. Okay, bye bye.